The Synoptic Gospels. The first three Gospels have many striking resemblances and yet differ noticeably in many respects from the Gospel according to John. Hello, welcome to Conferences on the True Religion. I am your host, Father John Okerolun. In the last episode, we saw that it is possible for us to recognize a divine revelation. For as we said, if God chooses to reveal, it follows that He would find a means to show with unmistakable marks that He has revealed. Today, we shall consider the documents of the Christian revelation. We begin with the documents. Why? The reason is because the truth of Christianity depends in great part on what is related in certain documents called the Gospels. From them, we derive practically all that we know of Christ. He is a central figure in these narratives and is described as teaching certain doctrines and performing marvelous works in proof of what he teaches. To know Christ and his fundamental doctrines, we must know the Gospels. If these writings narrate true historical facts, we can use them to prove definite conclusions concerning Christ and his doctrines. Just as we could use an authentic history of, say, the American Revolution to prove definite conclusions concerning George Washington and his political doctrines and military exploits. It is with this purpose in view that we begin the study of Christianity by investigating the proofs that the Gospels are authentic history. The Gospels, why that name? The word gospel from the Anglo-Saxon words God, meaning good, and spell, meaning to tell, signifies the written account of the good tidings of salvation preached by Christ. The Latin word evangelium from the Greek word euangelion, meaning a good message, has passed into many modern languages, and from this word, the writers of the Gospels are called evangelists. The order of the Gospels. The present ordering of the four Gospels, namely that according to Matthew being put first, then those according to Mark, Luke, and John, was the most ancient ordering and has passed from the Latin edition of Jerome in the 5th century to the present editions of the Bible. The reason for this order is most likely the time at which they were written. Matthew's account appearing first, then Mark's, then Luke's, and finally John's. The Synoptic Gospels. The first three Gospels have many striking resemblances and yet differ noticeably in many respects from the Gospel according to John. These differences are not contradictions, but variations in style, subject matter, plan. Only a few incidents are common to John and the Synoptics, while the narratives of the latter can be easily arranged to show at a glance the passages which are common to them and also the parts which are not common. In the first three Gospels, we have practically the same view of Christ, and for this reason, they are called the Synoptic Gospels. The New Testament. The four Gospels are included in a set of writings under the general title, the New Testament. The Latin word testamentum was a translation from ecclesiastical writers of the Greek word diatheke, a word which signified a legal will, namely, the document in which a man expresses his will with regard to the disposition of his goods after his death. The word testamentum was used by the 70 translators of the Hebrew Scriptures into Greek, the Septuagint version, as the equivalent of berit, the Hebrew word meaning an alliance. The New Testament then, in this sense, would mean the new alliance of God with His people brought about by Christ and contrasted with the old alliance of God with the chosen people brought about by God through Moses. The combined history of the two alliances is called the Bible or book and is divided into the Old and the New Testaments. The content of the New Testament includes, besides the four Gospels, the Acts of the Apostles, letters of St. Paul, James, Peter, John, Jude, and a prophetical document called the Apocalypse by St. John. Of these documents, the Acts of the Apostles is a historical book, a second treatise by St. Luke, who had already written the third Gospel. When we speak, therefore, of the historical value of the Gospels, we include the Acts of the Apostles. Practically the same proofs which establish the trustworthiness of the Gospels also establish the trustworthiness of the other writings of the New Testament, because these writings, with the exception of the Apocalypse, are based on the facts and doctrines recorded in the Gospels and Acts. On the next episode, we shall speak on the life of the four evangelists and the characters of their Gospels. May God bless you.